Does anyone actually, with their friend's sister, or is that just something you see in movies? If so, what happened? My older brother and I had a party together one time where I ended up sleeping with one of his friends, and he spent the night in my bed. He woke up before me in the morning and went to get some water. I heard down the hall some people talking, and my brother saying, "Oh, hey, I didn't know you were still here. Where'd you sleep last night?" I just figured the guy would want to be discreet about it, but I hear through the wall, "With your sister." My brother opened my door about 20 minutes later and threw a pillow at me, and we never talked about it again. This is the problem with sisters. Sooner or later, someone is going to sleep with them. Story 2. What if you didn't know it was a guy's sister you were acquaintances with, and the guy actually warmed up to you even more after you had intimacy with his sister? Because this happened. Basically, I knew this guy from around residence at university, and we spoke a few times out in the smoking area, because I was cool like that. Slept with this guy's sister at a party one weekend. She was in the same dorm on the floor above me, and we had flirted and talked a few times. Never once did I hear or put together they were related. Different hair color and look completely. About a day later, this guy comes up to me and asks if I fooled around with so-and-so, and I admit to it, expecting props, if anything. His expression changes to one of reserved anger, as he tells me it was his sister. I start falling over myself, apologizing and saying I had no idea. Did I mention he was also a huge guy? Just then, he cracked a smile and said he was happier it was me than some of the other schmucks at school. It was messing with me. He tells me I have his support, finishes his smoke, and walks away. He sounds like an okay guy. Story 3. The best friend comes from a Mormon family. It doesn't follow it anymore, but his very cute younger sister was still a believer. It was always at uni, and I happened to run into her at the grocery store one day, and we exchanged numbers and agreed to get lunch. After texting her for a couple days, she admitted to me a couple things. First, she admitted that she had always had a crush on me. She then admitted she was going through a wild phase, and she admitted that she wanted to make out with me. I told her I was free pretty much any time I wasn't at work. Fast forward a couple days, and she and I took a shot of vodka on the kitchen table, and we started making out. I then proceeded to do it with her like a screen door all over my house, the couch, the coffee table, my room, against a wall, etc. Literally all we did the rest of the night was consume more alcohol and have intimacy. After that night, we hung out once, and she's gone back to being a good Mormon. My friend has no idea. If he did, he would freaking end me. Story 4. There was a party at my friend's house, and she was there. We were sitting under a blanket on opposite ends of a couch that had been dragged outside. My friend was with his female friend on some chairs opposite. They began to start kissing and doing generally teenage boy things with this girl. They got up and took it inside to his room. Still don't really know what the heck happened, but we kind of looked at each other and just ended up taking various items off. Well, I was not well accustomed to the effects of alcohol, and I fell asleep, and she apparently tried to initiate something, but I was too far gone to respond. We've never spoken about it since. I regret nothing. Story 5. Girl here. I slept with my best friend's older brother. We were at a wedding after party, and he started putting on the moves, so I went with it. Mind you, I'd been nursing a crush for him since age 13. So it was a brother dream come true. Seeing stars and crap. I was quite buzzed, but I do distinctly remember hearing my best friend freaking out when she saw us kissing. It started with, "Oh my god, my brother and my best friend, what the heck? Oh my god." Within a few seconds, it was, "Oh my god, my brother and my best friend." All was well. Wild times ensued. That was around 4 years ago, and I still bring it up to her every now and again just to freak her out. Most recently, blah blah, insert brother's name is getting married in May. That's cool. She can have my seconds. Story 6. I was quietly enjoying a cold bourbon at the hotel I was staying in when my mobile cell rang. I see my come up on screen, and picking it up, I hear the familiar guttural breathing of that big lump. "Hey man, what's up?" Casually ask, and suddenly my ear is ringing from the cheering of the other blokes obviously getting into it and having a few coldies. "Oh, nothing, man. What are you doing for New Year's tonight?" You managed to get through. "Just sitting up here having a quiet drink. Only flew in a couple of days ago, so I don't really make plans." Little did I know that I was about to embark on the wildest, most incredible night of my life. Let's picked up from where I was staying, 2 hours away from Surfer's Paradise. The trip down? So many drinks, laughs, and randomly jumping into the back of other blokes' utility laughing and drinking. Eventually, we made our destination, the old mate Scott's house. As I walked in through the door, I was suddenly hit by someone in a giant hug. I looked down, and there, wrapped around me, was Scott's sister. 5'1", brunette. My eyes widened in surprise, and I managed to stammer, "Sophie? Is that you?" She looked up at me with those big, gorgeous green eyes and smiled. "Yep, how you been, man?" I was shocked. "I haven't seen you since you were like 9. Holy crap, you grew up hot." She laughed, and I was sure that was something she heard a lot. After the usual pleasantries, I begged my leave and went and jumped into the downstairs shower. After showering for a few minutes, I heard the door suddenly open, and I turned to drop a witty insult to the would-be perpetrator, until I noticed it was Sophie. Hi there. What are you doing? Oh, nothing. Just thought we should catch up. To which I hastily replied, well, in or out, expecting her to shut the door and come back later, right up to the point that she climbed into the shower with me. So began a wonderful, sexy long weekend at my mate's place with his sister. There's more to this story, but I can wait for another time. Tell us. Story 7. Not quite, but in high school, a friend of mine and I were at a kid's house who had an extremely attractive older sister. We were all getting intoxicated and playing beer pong, and my friend and I were on a roll. After winning like 10 games in a row or something, his sister and her equally attractive friend decided to raise the stakes. We live in the mountains and there was snow on the ground, so the bet was as follows. If we lost, we had to run around the house with barely any clothing. If they lost, they had to make out with each other for 20 seconds. Anyways, best 20 seconds of my early high school career. Story 8. Yes, one of my best friends, who happens to be gay, had his family come visit sophomore year of college. His sister, who we all had met the summer before, partied with us both nights. Was able to sneak away with her twice without him ever finding out about it. I made up some lie about needing to get my wallet out of my car, and she came with me. What made it better was how we had been joking with him since the summer about how one of us was going to fool around with her, and how angry he got at the idea. To this day, he doesn't know it happened, although he may suspect it. Story 9. Here we go. I slept with my old best friend's younger sister. I used to hang out with said friend a lot. Let's call him Todd. We both like video games, the same music, and we met through my ex-girlfriend, though we went to the same school. His sister is 2 years younger than us, and one time at his house he said, some of my sister's friends are really hot. I agreed, and we kept gaming. Later that night, my friends went to bed, and I was on my laptop on the couch in their basement when Todd's sister and her friend came down and started talking to me. This wasn't the fateful night. That happened almost a year and a half later. Todd was the kind of guy who would say, man, if you get Terraria, we can play together and it'll be great. But then he'd never play with you. I stopped gaming as much, and we drifted apart and made new friends. With new friends, I met another ex, who I'd later learned Todd had a crush on. That ex and I were dating for 16 months, and for 14 of those months, I found that Todd would always text her, telling her to break up with me or that he saw me at a restaurant with another girl when I was standing beside her. I'm not normally jealous, and Todd, no offense, didn't have a full soap of scoring with my ex. So when we broke up, Todd texted me saying that he was going to wheel my girlfriend now and how he was going to tell me about the intimacy they had. Before he could even try it, I texted his sister and asked her if she wanted to come watch movies. She got here and I showed her all the DVDs and asked her to pick something out or find something on my computer while I made food. Anyways, 10 minutes into RoboCop, she was whistling me and it all went from there. Oh, poor Todd. Story 10. I have a pretty complete story regarding sleeping with a friend's sister. I have a buddy who I hang out with just about every weekend. The thing was playing beer pong. We were good, and we did it just about every day on the weekend until stupid o'clock in the morning. Well, near the end of one summer, his sister comes to party down with us. I feel that it is very important to paint the picture of what this girl looked like. About 5'6", lots of tattoos, had a look of, I've done way too many substances and now I barely eat. Super amorous, and I was the unfortunate target of her affection pretty quickly. So she admits to me one weekend that she is really into me, and I told her I couldn't because I was honestly seeing someone else at the time. Well, this girl turned out to be the kind of evil and ended up breaking up with me over text messaging. My crappy self decided I felt bad as a result and asked my friend if I could fool around with his sister. I don't know if he was intoxicated or just trusted me more than the average guy, but he gave me permission. About half an hour later, I ended up sleeping with her in the back of my car outside the party. It was fantastic. It went on for way longer than it should have, and unfortunately, just about everybody at the party knew it had happened. So the next night comes around and we were hanging out again, and there are no illusions as to how this party will end for myself and my friend's sister. I found myself on the couch with her the next day. Now 2 days after the first time it happens. And we basically pick up where we left off. Turns out my friend didn't sleep through the intimacy and was pretty freaking angry. Well, we fool around a few more times and we honestly have some pretty fantastic and affectionate dates. This all ends when she decides she wants to sleep with other dudes and I frankly don't give a crap. Skip ahead a few months later and I see an invite to a party that includes an ex. Not just any ex, though. The ex. The girl that you dated and loved but broke your heart at the end of the day due to some BS or another. Well, I asked my friends what the heck is going on, and I found out that she comes to every single party I don't go to. There is nothing I can do, and over the course of a few months, I end up feeling like an outsider in the group. My ex had stolen their friendship, and I no longer felt like a part of the friends I once had. Skip ahead about a year, and I found out that my ex is now dating the friend whose sister I fool around with. It doesn't faze me too much, because I don't consider these guys friends anymore. I ended up asking a friend how it all happened, and I found out that my ex started being invited to parties because I messed with my buddy's sister. What a petty little guy. Story 11. Me and my best friend's sister lost our V-cards to one another. It's actually a really logical storyline that most would have predicted. We went to the same high school. My friends would regularly hang out at my best friend's house and chill or drink, so I became casual friends with her. She started drinking at a young age and getting intoxicated at his house. She'd chill with us a bit or come home at the end of the night intoxicated and hang out a bit. I got off intoxicated a few times to my best friend's utter horror, but his sister was easy, so I wasn't ever the first or the last. He kind of understood, and we always made up. We had a secret relationship, so her overbearing parents and my friend didn't find out. I went off to uni, and when I came back, we went out with a bunch of friends, and at the end of the night, snuck off for a little something. It was good. The relationship ended so badly, I can't actually hear her name without losing a few days of sleep, but I doubt that is because she's my friend's sister. Story 12. My friend who this is about unfortunately knows my username, but this thread was too good to resist. I lost my V card to my best friend's younger sister when I was in high school. I didn't brag about it to him at all. Yeah, when other people found out about it, they took every opportunity to bring it up in front of both of us, resulting in numerous awkward moments. I don't regret it, and I was not the one who initiated it either. It was not like a movie, unless there's a movie out there that shows a really pathetic guy losing his V card in the grass on the side of a house for a total of 3.5 minutes. Sean, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry too, Sean. Story 13. It wasn't really my good friend, but more of an acquaintance. He fooled around with my sister after I specifically told him not to. A few weeks later, she had a party at his house. We were both in the wrestling team, and they always call his mom, giving me weird looks. She was pretty intoxicated and gave me some signals. I was pretty angry that he slept with my sister, so I went upstairs and gave it to her. I was 20 at the time and continued seeing her for a year until my mom called me when we were out, and she pulled the phone away thinking it was another girl. My mom recognized the voice. Still brings it up to this day. Story 14. Made a throwaway and got out of bed, just for this question. Didn't get as far, but my god, I had so many opportunities to do it. It baffles me how it didn't. I'm in my early 20s, and my maid and I have been friends since around age 10 or so. There's a younger sister who at the moment is 18. I once spoke to him about sisters, and he mentioned how he couldn't handle it if one of his friends was with his sister. Anyway, I went over to his house a few times as a kid and never noticed that his sister was paying a lot of attention to me. Skip forward a few years, and our families and a few others were spending time together on holidays, and this was the first time I noticed her and started to realize there was some chemistry there. Skip forward again. High school. She started when I was in year 9 or 10 or something, and we became pretty good friends as we would see each other pretty often, even with the age gap. After a while, she started to make it blatantly obvious she was interested in me, but I never really pursued it because it would have been super weird at school, so I just stuck with flirting. Very strong flirting. Once I finished high school, we kept in touch through Facebook, and after a year or so, she invited me over to watch movies. Now, at this time, she had a boyfriend, and I don't know what the heck I was thinking when I agreed to be alone in the house with my mate's sister when she had a boyfriend. So I drive over there, and we hang out in the lounge room for a while, then I'm laying on her bed while she's getting changed in the bathroom. We head back downstairs to the lounge room. Didn't even end up putting on a movie as we had heaps of catching up to do and we were just talking for ages. Naturally, like all our conversations we ever have, the topic moves on to our relationship and our past and whatnot. Feelings are going off like fireworks and we're getting pretty close on the couch. Bam! Her phone rings. I'm thinking to myself, crap, I shouldn't be here. Problem is, I'm still pure and I've got this beautiful girl who I know would have no problem in taking this further right now. Anyway, while she's on the phone, my mind is just playing chess with my Johnson. And it's not like a chilled out, relaxing game of chess. It's freaking wizard's chess. She hangs up the phone, we talk a bit more. Meanwhile, the chess game is still in full swing. Conversation is rapidly getting closer to the wild side of things when my brain declares, checkmate, on my Johnson. I snap the heck out of it and tell her I've got to go home because I've got to be up early for work. She pleaded with me to stay longer, and in my head I hear my Johnson yelling out, best out of 3. But somehow I managed to stay strong, kissed her goodnight, and drove home. Back home, I was calling myself a wuss for not doing it, but now I look back on it, I am unbelievably proud of myself. A, she had a boyfriend at the time. B, it's my mate's little sister, and he told me he was against it. I still talk to her occasionally, and we did speak about that night. I'm happy how it turned out. I'm glad I had the strength to not cheat with her on her boyfriend. I thought how crappy I would feel if I was him. I'm still mates with her brother. He's an awesome guy who I don't see enough. Kissed her goodnight? Huh? Story 15. Yep, I slept with a best friend's sister here. Was at the wedding of his older sister, which was kind of funny. I slept with his younger one. After all the drinking and dancing during the night, about 7 of us all went back to my room. I had the TV on and was just chilling out when she came into my bed and just started snuggling up to me. Fair enough. I started thinking about completely random stuff just to keep things under control. Last thing I needed was for things to get awkward. While I am thinking and chatting and saying random crap, she starts to move on me slowly. No way, I thought. She's obviously just getting comfy or something. Nope. Next thing I know, things took a pretty unexpected turn and got a bit intimate. Woohoo, party time, but after about 30 seconds, she obviously just got bored of it and just did it all the way. Sweet. Oh, and by the way, my mate was about 10 feet away from me at the time. Anyways, what about you guys? Got any wild stories to share? Tell us in the comments, and don't forget to hit that subscribe and like button for more videos like this. Story 16. Two stories, very related. The first, I used to have this friend in high school. Had a lot of classes together. We messed around in school all the time. He'd always make jokes about sleeping with his sister. I never took it too far. Just a wink and a nod kind of thing. He took it in good humor. One particular thing was, one day you're going to come home and I'm going to be there in your sister's room, but not for you. That was just banter. Anyway, his sister had entered high school a year after us, so I interacted with her once in a while. She missed the bus home one day and asked me for a ride. So I gave her a ride, and she said her brother should be home in a bit, so I just decided to stay and hang out for a while. We were in her room, door open, completely innocent. When he got back, he walks in and just gives me this combination of glare and okay face. I'm like, no, it's not what you think. I just gave her a ride. Only I spit it all out in like 2 syllables. It was amusing. The second story is related to the first. The next year was apparently when she bloomed. She went from straight and narrow to quite curvy. Anyway, all the guys were tripping all over themselves to get at her. I get asked to give her a ride home again, and she seems really different personality-wise. She's a lot more quiet. Now, before I continue, let me preface by saying that in high school I was a very socially awkward kind of guy. I didn't really talk to or socialize very well with people outside of my group of friends. I wasn't hostile, I just didn't seek the attention out. Anyway, almost all the time we were together on the ride home, she was quiet. When we got home, I figured I'd again wait for her brother to get home so I could hang with him for a while. Eventually, I got her to laugh a little and open up. She lets me know that she's creeped out by all the attention she's getting at school. She said it went from being chill and relaxed to not having a moment's peace because guys keep flirting with her or eye-rolled at by girls. In fact, she said I'm the only guy aside from her gay guy friend that hasn't been relentlessly flirting with her. At this point, she was visibly more relaxed and enjoying herself rather than having to be in constant defense mode. We were in her room for about 15 minutes and she was on the computer. We were just making small talk and she said something to the effect of, I really trust you. A lot. I'm glad we're friends. She got up and came over. I didn't know what was going to happen, but she gave me a hug. I was all, aw, that's cute. But then she looked up and gave me a kiss. First, a peck on the lips, then a full-on romantic kiss. I wasn't expecting it at all. We did that a couple more times, but then she kind of got all quiet again and barely said a word to me ever again after that. I couldn't get more than 2 words out of her. I wasn't flirting. Nothing changed, but we practically never spoke again and she wouldn't even acknowledge me after that. So I guess it's only in the movies. Let me guess. You didn't kiss her back, and if you did, you just stayed silent afterwards. Story 17. My first time was with my best friend's older sister. Please note, our families had been tight-knit for 10 years at this point. It invited me over to try grass for the first time and have a few drinks, both of which she was providing. So we're sitting downstairs, drinking and smoking when my friend passes out. I can't exactly remember how it happened, but we decided to go watch a movie in her room. We turned the movie on, and pretty much before the opening credits had even ended, we started making out. Which, of course, with a teenager with questionable morals, soon led to both of us having fun times. We went back downstairs after we had finished, a little more sober, a lot more aware of what we had just done. She said if I told anyone, her mates would come after me, as it would tear our 2 families apart and ruin her in the eyes of her parents. A little shaken, a little guilty, a little pleased with myself, I went home later on and went to sleep. The next night I jumped on MSN. He was online, so we started chatting and had a 3-way convo with one of our mutual friends. He goes to get some food and we keep talking. All of a sudden, older sister jumps on his account, spiked on God knows what. She obviously doesn't see that there's a third person in the convo and starts talking about it. In depth. I'm trying to shut her up, but she's not paying much attention. She's so out of it that she doesn't stop talking about it until my friend comes back with food. Kicks her off and, saw the last line and then read the entire convo. I didn't say a word and just logged off. Our other friend just said, well, you messed up big time. And logged off too. So I'm sitting here thinking, crap. I got a call from her about an hour later, accusing me of telling him everything. I tell her what she had done and she says, oh crap, and hangs up. During the next few days, I had a few talks with him. He seemed pretty cool about it, till the 3rd day, where he just snapped and started justified mistreating me. I took it for a while, apologizing, blaming it on the grass and booze, which did play a factor, of course. I was pure. He cut off contact after that. Our families drifted apart, and when we did meet, it was awkward as hell. We eventually started talking about 2 years later, but it was never the same. We hung out a few times, and I even went to his sister's 22nd birthday, but it was pretty messed up. Don't sleep with your friend's sister if you still want to be friends. There's plenty of women out there. Story 18. Yes, I have slept with my friend's sister, and it got a little awkward around her brother for years as a result. At first, when I grew interested in her, I would come over to his house and hang out more. This was back in high school. But it became apparent after a while that it was to see her. When we finally started dating, he flipped his crap and refused to speak to me, or his sister, so definitely didn't start off on a good note with him there. Then, as time goes on, he eventually gets adjusted to it, and around a year or so into our relationship, I finally take her V-card. They both held it as a life-ending secret and mentioned it to no one, not even close friends, for fear that the word would get back to her brother. Well, jump forward another 2 years, and he's getting rather annoyed by our relationship. Starts dating everything he can and boasts about his advancements, but never actually having intimacy. He was very much pure at this stage. We couldn't figure out why he would bother boasting until we guessed it was to bait one of us into saying anything. The cheeky little bugger he is and all. Finally, he meets a woman he gets engaged to after 10 months and boasts he finally lost his V-card, which continually got on my nerves. The dialogue went something like this about a week later. Friend. So, my night was good, if you know what I mean. Me. Good for you, bud. I'm glad you had fun. Friend. No, I mean, I had a really good time. In bed. Me. Oh, well, good for you, I guess. Friend. Yep. Finally lost my V-card. I'll help you on the rebound once you find a college chick to do it around with. Me. I wasn't aware I had to find a random woman to sleep with, nor that this was a contest. Either way, your sister beat your time by like 2 years. He absolutely flips his crap and doesn't speak to me for months. Needless to say, I've had a good time ever since fooling around with my friend's sister, but he certainly hasn't. Story 19. Never told anyone this. Was living with some friends. We were all around 20 to 21. One of my friends, a girl who I fool around with on occasion, turned 21, so we went to her folks' place for a party. Met up with a cute blonde. She was curvy and so beautiful. We didn't have intimacy, but spent about 10 minutes making out. For some reason, she was shaking, but she was the most beautiful girl. Found out after the party it was my friend's sister. She developed a huge crush on me and would always come to visit her sister just for an excuse to hang out with me. And I would just do my best to avoid her. Terrified of being found out. My friend found out and didn't talk to me again. Then one time I went on a 2-week holiday, came back, and the entire house was empty except for my room and notes saying I had 2 weeks to move out. Story 20. Yep, I lost my V-card to my buddy's sister. Met them at the same time on a mission trip. Irony, and hung out with him on and off for a few months. Felt like I always got along better with his sister than I did with him. Anywho, went over to his house for the first time and his sister came home late. Ended up watching a movie with both of them and all of us got absolutely black out. Suddenly I found myself really close to her, having a great time while my friend was on the floor laughing and shouting, "Stop messing around with my sister!" Yeah, he was kind of a witch about the whole thing. A few minutes of terrible intimacy ensued, and the next morning we didn't really mention it. Never talked to either one of them after that. Story 21. One of my best buds who grew up with me since the 2nd grade. I'm 20 now. Has a sister who is practically family to me as well, just not on the level of friendship as my boy. Ever since high school, I could tell she had a crush on me. No big deal, completely innocent, but I didn't see her in that same light. Fast forward, I'm beginning college, she's a senior, legal, and she's throwing signs relentlessly that she's into me. I mean, hardball. The three of us got intoxicated a couple of times together, and I guess you could say she used the situation as a crutch to try to spit game shamelessly. From following me into a restroom and catching me off guard and sneaking a French kiss when her brother is literally a couple steps away and not looking, she never let down, but continued to bombard me with these advances time and time again, only to be shut down by me each and every time. Just didn't feel the same. Then one fateful night, a mutual friend hosts a backyard party. The buddy and his sis are there as well. I ended up pretty hammered and she was pretty intoxicated too, but I didn't care. I was enjoying myself. So I walked to my buddy's bathroom, which is attached to his room, and take a whiz. I walk out and who do I see? That's right, she was on the bed waiting for me. Can't say I remember the details, or maybe I'm blocking them out, but next thing I know, we're making out and I got excited. So I said screw it and did it with her. The next part seems to last years. I heard someone opening the door, which neither of us locked because we were intoxicated idiots. I turned to see the most unfortunate schmuck walk in. I swear I turned my head, completed eye contact, and did it with his poor soul sister as the words, "Ah, crap," so calmly left my stupid head. I'm sorry, Jim. I still freaking regret it. Story 22. My sister's roommate in college. She was a senior, I was a freshman. Her roommate was a junior. I ended up being placed with 2 seniors my freshman year, and they threw cool parties. We had an amazing time, thanks to sufficient liquid ambition. And let's just say she was loud. The next day, I'm at the gym with my sister. We were pretty close and worked out 4 to 5 times a week together. And she's going on and on about how her roommate came home that morning and proceeded to gush about the night she had. I didn't know until about halfway through the story it was me, because I had no idea who the girl was. Looked my sister straight in the eye and said, "That was me. Forget all those details, please." She was a bit embarrassed. Story 23. My parents passed away when I was a baby, so I was raised by my aunt and uncle. Didn't really have any friends. When I was 11, I started attending a new school and became friends with some guy. His sister was weirdly obsessed with me. Like totally obsessed with me, but I didn't pay that much attention to it. I started dating this chick who wasn't really over her previous relationship and thought I had a thing for one of my best friends, girl. I realized I liked my best friend's sister when my best friend and I caught her kissing her boyfriend at the moment. Oh, crucial to the story, I play sports. I couldn't make the game I was supposed to play, but my team won. When I came into the dorm with something like 40 people partying, I somehow ended up kissing my best friend's sister in the middle of the room. He was okay with it. We dated for a few months, after which I broke it off because of personal reasons. It wasn't really awkward when I saw her again, but she did give me a sort of final birthday kiss. After that, I didn't see her for about a year, but when I did see her, after some drama completely not related, we got back together. Now it's 19 years later and we have 3 kids. Named 2 of them after my parents, one of them after the ex-headmaster of our school, and some guy who used to fancy my mother and turned out to be the bravest man I ever knew. My best friend is cool with it. He married our other best friend, with whom we've been close since our first year. They finally got together after years of circling each other, when my best friend destroyed one of the final Horcruxes and made a comment about house elves. Story 24. I was at this party once, and my best friend's sister showed up out of nowhere. I actually didn't even know he had a sister. We got to talking and drinking, and there was an obvious attraction between the 2 of us. We were playing beer pong, and she was good. Like, really good. I was thoroughly impressed, which attracted me to her even more. Her smile, her laugh, her likes, her dislikes. Everything about this girl was absolutely amazing. My friend wanted to go to another house party because the one we were at was dying down. I asked her what she wanted to do, and she said she was getting pretty tired and was too intoxicated to drive, so I offered to give her a ride. The second we got into my car, it was on. We didn't even make it to the freeway before we were all over each other. We got to my house and to go through domes like Tyler Durden. The next morning, I woke up alone in my bed. I got up, showered, and went to work. That was a particularly awesome dream. Dog, come on. Story 25. Yep, I went to visit my buddy for his 21st birthday. He'd only been 21 for a few months. He was living about 400 miles away at the time with his mom, his older brother, and his older sister, and her 3 kids. Quick backstory on her. She was 25 at the time, just got the finalized divorce for her ex-husband. They had been separated a year already. He had mistreated her their entire relationship, but she was now officially free of that schmuck. They have a weekend of intoxicated degeneracy and end up bar hopping, and the last night I was there. Our group got separated, and I ended up alone with his sister for several of the bars. We got more hammered as the night went on, talked and danced with each other, and I ended up carrying her to the last bar. Her feet were hurting because of her heels. Somehow everyone had made it to the last bar. They were all over each other, and we were talking real close. Then she says, "Are you going to just shut up and kiss me?" So there we are, making out in this seedy dive bar until my friend and his brother pull me away, and my friend's girlfriend pulls their sister away. They asked me, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And I intoxicatedly told them yes. They said, "Okay, when we get back, the rubber's in the downstairs bathroom. We really don't want her having any more kids. It's better that it's you than anyone else. Have fun." Later, according to my friend's sister, that was basically the same thing my friend's girlfriend said to her. "Are you sure? Okay, be safe and have fun." I don't know how we made it back to their house, as that part was a blur, but that night was amazing. The next morning, we were all hungover as crap, but we remembered what happened, and we all had a good laugh at breakfast. My friend and his brother were cool with everything. They were happy it was me and not some random schmuck. Story 26. I slept with my friend's older sister. Everyone in the group of friends always gave him crap about how hot his sister was, asking him to set us up with her. Still don't know how I managed it, but one day she sent me a message and just asked, "So, when are you taking me to dinner?" I was in shock. Ran out of the room, got my friend, not the brother, but another one of the friends who knew her, showed him the message and was like, "Holy crap, what do I do?" His jaw's on the floor. He turns to me and says, "What do you do? You put on your suit and take her to the nicest freaking place you can afford." Fast forward to now, we're married and have 2 kids. Story 27. My best buddy since I was like 7 has a younger sister. She's always had a crush on me, but I never did anything for respect for my bro, and I always thought she was too young. But one day she turned into a beautiful swan with the nicest back I've ever seen. Well, she had a party one day for her birthday, and I was kind of messed up and we fooled around. I told my buddy the next day, and he just laughed at me and said, "Tough break, kid." Then he punched me really hard and we made an epic mealtime breakfast. Story 28. Many years ago, I almost slept with a sister of a very close friend of mine. She was married, but separated at the time, and the only thing that kept us from happening is that she decided to give her husband one last chance. My friend found out that we were fooling around, and he blew up at me, telling me to stay away from his sister and that I was a bad person. He quit talking to me completely. I never got the chance to speak to him again. 2 months later, he ended it all. The whole thing is something I regret on a daily basis. Story 29. Probably too late for this to be seen, but I hope someone takes notice and can help me navigate this quandary. My best friend has the most charming, beautiful, witty, down-to-earth sister in the world, and I'm hardcore crushing on her. I've liked her for around 4 years, but I've known her for around 8-ish years. I haven't felt like this around a female in God knows how long. Whenever I'm around his family and his sister is present, I feel like I can't even look at her because that one glance would be enough for everyone to tell that I'm completely head over heels for this girl. Sometimes I even avoid talking to her at length when her parents are around just so it seems like I'm not even interested in knowing this girl. Now I know she feels the same way about me, maybe to a slightly lesser degree, but I haven't made a move because I don't know how my friend would feel. On top of that, his family has been extremely kind to me and I love them like a second set of parents. It isn't a question of how I would treat her, because with her, the only thing I could do is treat her the way a woman deserves to be treated. The question is about the family. I don't want to lose my best friend over this or the relationship I have with his family. I guess I'm just looking for an outside perspective to kind of gauge the situation and take note of my options. Thanks for taking the time to read what probably seems like a teen angst-filled post. I'm sure their family would love you. Story 30. Never slept with a friend's sister, but I have slept with a sister's friend. Here's the story if you're interested. I kind of knew that her friend had a crush on me, but I just brushed it aside. One day she came over to watch a movie with my sister, and I had not seen the movie either. New Pirates of the Caribbean, so I decided to watch it too. About halfway through the movie, my sister gets up and goes to her room and goes to sleep. Wasn't feeling good or something. We were just talking, and I stole her phone because she got really worked up about it, and I needed a laugh. She said something along the lines of, "What do I have to do to get my phone back? Give you a whistle?" And I just laughed it off and gave her the phone. A few more conversation topics pass by, and she brings it up again. At the time, I was in a long slump, so I jokingly said, "If you want to." And she got off the couch and went upstairs into my room. I followed, we did the deed, her mom came to pick her up, and then she started dating some dude the next day. Nothing bad ever happened. Well, if you like these stories, here's more. YouTube thinks you're gonna love this. Catch you in that video.